Denmark is a country that, although may be small, it is quite unique in the world. Home to the Danish, the proud and humble folk. And although the people within this nation have a very peaceful attitude, the country still has an understanding of its defense for its civilians. And today here on FTD Facts, we look at how much power Denmark actually has. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to FTD Facts. Dave Walpole here, and welcome to the channel where we talk about people, cultures, and places from all around the world. Although lately we've been doing a lot of military videos. Don't ask me why, they've just been really popular. So today what we're going to do is we are going to look at the defense forces of Denmark, and we're going to find out how powerful it actually is. Now, we're not going to compare it to other nations because people don't like it when we do that sort of thing. But what we will look at today is the numbers of the amount of people within the Denmark forces, and we're going to see what kind of equipment that these guys actually use. Now, hey guys, before we get in this video, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys really like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, because if we get over 5,000 likes, then we know, well, you guys really want more military content around Denmark or maybe other countries around the world, so we will continue to do that. And that's pretty much why we've been doing a lot of these military videos as of late, because a lot of people have been doing the thumbs up. So let's throw ourselves right into the facts, and let's look at the forces of Denmark, which are known as the Danish Defense Forces, and they are the armed forces that make up the Kingdom of Denmark, which stretches through the mainland all the way to its self-governing nations like Faroe Island and Greenland, and even other places around the world. Yeah, that's right. In case you guys didn't know, Greenland is actually part of Denmark. I actually had no idea as well. I always thought Greenland was kind of like, you know, just this big icy thing that people, you know, only like maybe 1,000 people live on. But yeah, it's part of Denmark. I don't know why I said Denland there. I was trying to say Greenland and Denmark. It didn't really work out. But as for the Danish Defense Forces, let's take a look at how the whole thing works out. First of all, Denmark has a total population of 5,785,864 people. Now, that's, of course, as of a 2018 estimate. Now, keep in mind also, some of the numbers throughout all of this video are just going to be estimates, especially when we break down equipment, because, well, no military really gives out its true numbers of forces because, well, to be honest, there's just classified forces that we don't know of as well. But of this 5.7 million people, they say over 2 million people are classified as fit for service. Now, for its military, it has a total of approximately and most likely over 75,000 people. Now, of course, that is estimated. They have two different classifications of people within the military. They have active and reserves. And the thing for the active personnel, it's rather a hard number to get, because as of 2011, there was approximately 25,109 as of the official report done by the military. But as for today, it's estimated anywhere between 20,000 to anywhere between 30,000 people within the country that are classified as active personnel. Of course, the reserves, which are the Homeland Volunteers, sit at approximately 51,000, with approximately maybe 12,000 in other places. See, now the reason why we can't get an accurate number of that is because, well, there's a thing called conscription. Yes, that's right, conscription within the country actually does exist, and I'm going to go into that right now. Because within the country, the service for conscription does apply, however, it is only applied to males. Of course, anyone over 18 can volunteer for the army, and although women have had a military service history since approximately 1948, it wasn't until 1962 when they were allowed to enter into the ground military. And it's actually really interesting to know that when it comes to the amount of women within the Danish military, in today's world, about 7.33% of the entire forces are women. Also, what's really very unique about this particular country when it comes to its military, a lot of other countries have 3 different divisions, or the military is broken up into 3 different compartments. For Denmark, it's actually 4. This is because the major compartments of the Danish military are the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and of course the Home Guard, which I stated before are pretty much volunteers that are part of this service. Of course, previous to this, I mentioned how hard it was to get an accurate number of how many forces and individuals there are within the personnel, because for Denmark, the one rule that they do have, if there is ever a major emergency or there's a war that breaks out yet again, all former conscripts are immediately called upon to serve once again. So they'll have a lot of people in their military. But now let's talk about numbers and how much equipment that these guys actually have. Going up into the sky, they have a total aircraft strength of over 113. Now for this, of the total aircraft strength, 30 of them are fighters or classified as attack fighters, which overall the country uses the good old-fashioned F-16 Falcon. It's quite a reliable aircraft. It should also be mentioned that as of 2011, they state that there's 45 in total, but only 30 are currently in operation. Now, as for their transports, they have approximately 39, but that doesn't mean that all 39 are the big transport aircrafts. And those big transport aircrafts are the C-130J-30 Hercules medium transport aircraft, in which they have approximately 4 of them. Of course, they have multiple other pieces of equipment that does transport. For example, they also have the Challenger, and that would help make up these 39 units. For helicopters, though, they do have 35, in which they use the EH-101 Merlin Search and Rescue and Troop Transport Helicopter as their main chopper. And as for the rest of the aircraft, they are listed as trainers, recon, and other services of that nature. Now let's jump down to the ground. Let's take a look at the equipment that needs treads. And that would be tanks. For example, they have approximately 57 combat tanks, in which 38 of these combat tanks are the 120mm Leopard 2A5. Of course, there is armored fighting vehicles, being approximately 673. Currently, their main fighting vehicle is the CV-9035, which is Sweden-made, in which there are 45 of them. However, they are also in plans to purchase the MOWAG Piranha 5, which is about 309 of them. They might have already purchased them, but as of 2018, they said that this was the time they were going to do so. Whether or not they're behind on orders or anything like that, I don't really know. As for Denmark, they actually don't use any towed artillery or rocket projectors, but they do have 12 self-propelled artillery. Jumping over to the sea, when it comes to their total Navy assets, they have approximately over 90 of them. Of course, Denmark is a country that doesn't have any aircraft carriers. It doesn't really need any. However, it does have 9 frigates, and the largest of these are the Albasan-class frigates. Currently, they have 2 of these in possession. They have the HDMS Albasan and the HDMS Esbern Snare. For corvettes, they are looking at 0, but however, they do have approximately 7 mine warfare vessels and approximately 15 patrol vessels. Denmark has also been a country that has had submarines in the past. However, as of today, they don't have any, because in 2004, they just pretty much decommissioned or sold off the rest of them, saying they don't really need them. There is talks about whether or not they need them in the future, but as of today, they say they're fine. Now, one other question that I always ask in these military videos is whether or not the country is nuclear capable. So does Denmark have nukes? Well, the big answer to that is no. However, when it comes to places like Greenland, it actually has a history of transporting nuclear missiles and bombs, but that was specifically for the Americans. For example, there was the Thule Air Base disaster, in which a plane went down having 4 nuclear bombs on board it, and apparently to this day there's still one missing. They think it just went up in the wreckage. They're not entirely sure. But however, the thing when it comes to nuclear missiles, one thing that is very important is Denmark is a part of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, as it was one of the countries that helped ratify the treaty, signing it in 1968. I also like to point out, when it comes to the amount of resources, when it comes to this particular military and how powerful it actually is, you got to keep in mind that Greenland has a huge uranium deposit. As a matter of fact, they consider it like one of the highest uranium deposits in the entire world. But however, when it comes to mining for uranium, the Kvanefjeld mine has apparently had a ban on mining uranium for years. So unless that changes, it really doesn't matter. But keep in mind, if war were to break out, you could definitely guess that certain rules like that would change. Now, to finish it all off, let's take a look at budget. So the budget for the Denmark military in 2015 sat at approximately 20.9 billion DKK, which translates to about 3 billion USD. And for this budget, according to those numbers, it made up 1.3% of the GDP of the entire country, which is actually under the recommended 2% for EU countries. Because this budget has a tight budget, it's been reported that about 50 to 53% of it goes to paying out military forces, and approximately 14 to 21% is getting new equipment, and 2 to 8% is for ships. As well, the rest is for services such as construction or anything of that nature. Also, I totally forgot to mention that when it comes to the power of this country, Denmark is a country that is a part of NATO, and that's a positive thing. For those who don't know what NATO is, it's a program that's designed to help all signed nations to be protected from foreign invaders. And basically, they all will rise together and defeat them. And I think as of today, there's about 29 countries that are part of NATO. As well, Denmark has great relationships with other countries like Canada, and most importantly, the United States, and many EU countries, but most specifically Germany, in which the three of those are the biggest suppliers of equipment for military and make them a great ally. But there you go, guys. That is just a look at the army and the defense forces and how powerful Denmark actually is when it comes to its military forces. What are your thoughts on this, guys? I know they're rather small to other ones, but are they still a force to be reckoned with? Let us know down there in the comment section below. But hey, guys, thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Walpole, and if you guys really like this, like I said, give a big thumbs up because we'll do more videos over 5,000 likes, and then we know that you guys like it. Also, don't forget to check out some of our other stuff because we've done tons of videos on Denmark, and if you guys really like learning about the country, it's actually a really fascinating country, and I do recommend that you guys check them out. There's some stuff in the description box. I'm going to put probably a card right here, and of course there'll be some stuff at the end of the video that you guys can take a look at. Denmark's just a cool country. Go check it out. However, this is the military force of Denmark. Although smaller to other countries, it is still a contender in the world today. A country that has about 800 soldiers deployed abroad today, contributing towards world peace operations in many parts of the globe. These are the soldiers, the force, and the souls of the defense forces of Denmark. The ones who know that sometimes some things are worth fighting for. So, did you like this video? If you liked learning about Denmark, well, here's some of those videos that I was telling you to check out. Be sure to check out our other stuff, guys, because it's just great to expand your mind and learn about many different cultures and people and, institutions from around the world. As always, we look forward to hearing from you, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. We'll see you in the next one, right? Sure hope so.